that popular? Is it? Well, it's not running.
It wasn't. Now it is.
Now it is. Okay. Thank you for coming. So I don't think I need to do like a synopsis for Rocky, because the film is so popular that it had 7 Rockies pretty much. Creed was the latest one, right?
Yes.
So I'm just wondering why they were not Raging Bull 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 6, 7. That's going to be my one of the one of the question that I want to get to. But let's just start from a place. And Jacob is here. He's a boxer. He's soon going to have his pro boxing fight.
Yeah, this December.
This December, right? So I want to ask Jacob first to you, and have you seen Raging Bull?
Yes, I have.
Oh, you have. Okay. So first, let's talk about Rocky. What speaks to you most in the film?
I mean, apart from the improbability that we ever get a real shot at anything, it's more the beginning of the film that it resonates with me. We go out there, we get hit in the face, and we get almost no money for it, but we do it because we love it. It's one of those things that you can't do unless you love it. And that's exactly who Rocky is. He's the personification of how difficult it is to be a boxer. He lives in a shitty apartment, he has no money, he is all alone, and he's getting into the later part of his life. And I think that really personifies how difficult it is.
So why do you love it?
I mean, personally, I just watch it so many times, I think it's become something that I'm forced to love. It's nostalgia to me, but it's the story that makes it so great. It's improbable, and it's unlikely, and it's all these things rolled into one, and it's critiqued at every turn. But you can't deny how great a film it is that this individual who is a nobody, or a true underdog story, he goes up through the ranks, has the opportunity, and doesn't succeed, but still succeeds to himself. And at the end of the day, that's all we really have, is did we do enough for ourselves?
But that's what I want to understand. Why do we understand these things that that's all we really have? Okay, from your personal experiences of knowing so many different boxers, right? What percentage of chances you see this kind of thing happening?
Never.
Never, right? Never. But this is Rocky. We have 7 Rockies. We've seen so many boxers. This never happens. This is not life, but this is cinema, and this sells, right? So that's what I want to get to.
The American dream.
The American dream, right? And so here is, as we understand culture is like a repetition of certain things in front of us over and over again, and that's what creates a culture. That's what creates us and individuals as society, what we start believing in. So when we say what is American dream, how does American dream come to be? So Rocky has like everything in terms of the formula that will work, right? The first frame is you see Christ, Jesus Christ starting. That's the first frame. Under Christ, this fight is going to happen. There is this guy who, like you said, underdog, has nothing, right? So society, you have nothing. You have hope, and you need to be nice. So you got the nicest guy there. He's nice because he loves dogs. He can talk to turtles. He will pick randomly guys who are drunk outside a bar. He'll pick them, take them inside.
He's relatable. We always get denied by women for months at a time.
Right, and so the most shy woman who nobody will go talk to, he will continue persuading her. He wants to create a family. He wants to make babies, which we'll see for the Rockies.
He makes his own jokes.
Which don't work, but but we find them cute, right? Like she finds it cute. So. Perfect, nice guy. We got to fall in love. We got to see that he's getting beaten up every stage. We need to get behind this person, right? And in a way, we're getting behind this person, we're getting behind ourselves in society, pretty much. It's creating that scenario for all of us who probably, most of us who have nothing or who are living that kind of life, that, but what we eventually going to get, and eventually even winning Apollo Creed, not winning, is a winning. Right? So even it would not go that far. And I'm just wondering, for a screenwriter, what's the fucking big deal? You created all this drama, right? Let him fucking win. But no. He cannot win. Because somehow logic comes in. Oh, sorry, I'm going to come back to somehow rationality comes in because Apollo Creed is such a great boxer. You cannot defeat him, but you can accept the fact that the lady luck can fall on you any day, and Apollo Creed will choose you. You can accept that. That's rational, that's logical, but what's not logical is that you cannot beat Apollo Creed in the final game. And I ask why? Because you know what? You need to accept. You need to accept, keep fighting this fight. What's important is just keep fighting this fight, stay in it. You know, that's the final message, which is great. I mean, I'm not denying that. That's not a, I mean, we all need to hold on to something to keep going, living our lives. But that's what Hollywood sells you. That's the hope Hollywood sells you. That's what they're selling as culture. So, what do you think of that?
Well, I guess I would say that I think there's levels that I would take to it. And when you mentioned what Hollywood sells me, I see this movie as not a big Hollywood shoving into my face the same generic thing you've seen over and over. I see it as more something that everyone can get into, but the message that it sends to boxers, the one that more applies to me, is that our victories are what we create for ourselves. Like you mentioned, he lost, but he still won. He established toward the end of the film that his victory isn't what can matter to him. It was him going the distance. And we don't think to ourselves, when we become world champion, we become rich. One of the best, a close friend of mine, one of the greatest boxers I ever met in my life, ranked in 7 states #1, he doesn't get up and go, when I'm world champion, even though he could be. He's happy doing what he does. He's important to a certain group of people, and that's what really matters. So he doesn't dream of, he doesn't have these big dreams. He has the same dream that we all have, and it's our individual and original idea of what success is for us.
I honestly am pretty doubtful of that, what you just said. I mean, it's like, I'm very doubtful that, I'm sure people do things for love of it. And people fall in love with things, and they do that for that. But I really doubt all these boxers who are out there fighting, being a world champion doesn't matter to them in the sense that it's just about being world champion, not having that kind of money. I am doubtful that American dream that is being sold here is not one of the very significant factors that's driving us. I completely doubt that. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well,
but
one thing that we're kind of doing though is you're talking about the general public watching this versus a boxer watching this. You know what I mean? Like the general public, in the world that you're talking about, the boxing world, I've heard you say this multiple times, and I really like it when you say it. You're like, boxing is the stupidest sport ever, because you're basically getting in there and just beating yourself up, right? But it's also something that you love. I can tell when you say that statement, you're also loving it at the same time. Right. So I think that there are people who get into the ring with that idea of grandeur, and you can see. Even the showmanship of like the fight that happened last night. They're doing that thing, but they want to be the best. It doesn't matter world champion or not. They want to be the best right there in that moment where that you're talking about that group. Your group gets bigger the higher up the ladder you go, because now you have fans, now you have this, now you have that, and I think some people really get into that spotlight thing where it's like, I want everyone to see that I am the best in the world, to whatever degree that is. But as far as the film goes, and like me being not a boxer, just being a person who, you said, be relatable to this guy. I think there is something about rooting for the underdog, even if like they make the guy that you're fighting, Apollo Creed, pompous. They make him look like, this guy's a chump. I'm giving him a chance, sort of thing. Which it makes you the whole time you're like, what a jerk. I don't want him to win, but he is good enough that you shouldn't beat him logically, right? But I don't know, we kind of veered off track here.
No, we didn't. But coming back to that, so now you compare it with Raging Bull. And first of all, again coming back, which one you like the most? Which one you like better? And then why? And then we can get into the critical analysis of it. And on one hand, you can speak about it from the space of just being an audience, and then we can talk about critically, like, we make films, and so why we choose to make a certain film and not other. And when we are questioning to make what kind of film we should make, what is going on in our head in terms of making that decision? Should we make an underdog film, or should we make a film about a guy who's a complete jerk? And a guy who kind of disappoints. I mean, so our character, Jake LaMotta character in Raging Bull, is exactly opposite of every single thing that Rocky is, right?
Yes.
He will blame everybody for what's going on with him. He's not nice to anybody at all. He has no dog. Right?
He beats his wife.
He beats his wife. Yeah. He's not nice to any woman. He just don't know how to relate to them. Right? He's asshole to his own brother. Yeah. Right? He thinks he's the boss. He's the boss. He's the boss. He has no sense of like just being humble. That thing isn't there. Right? So I mean, he's just completely opposite character. And also in terms of his journey, Rocky is an underdog, and underdog has to kind of win in the end of the film, which happens here. When it comes to Raging Bull, the trajectory is only going to go down and down and down and down. So now,
so as a filmmaker, I don't know if I could get, like, I can work on a project that is the hero being a burning plane on the way down, but I don't feel as connected to the character. I don't feel the same things with the Rocky thing. I'll say it's easier to enjoy the show and also see, like, because it's like you said, it's two different extremes. We got Rocky, who is almost over the top, too much the nice guy. You almost kind of laugh at some of the situations that he does. And I asked the question a lot in my head, like while I was watching the movie, about this girl who shows him zero, anything, except for little tiny hints there and there. And it feels even uncomfortable the more he's kind of pushing and pushing and pushing, But I think if I were to make a movie, it would be more like the Rocky movie, less like Raging Bull. But the reason being is that I feel I just like happy stories. So you're just trying to say you don't like working with me at all. My job with working with you is to pull your far left a little more to the right. It doesn't have to be center at all, just away from that sad dying character, and at least a little bit of somebody should laugh in the movie at least once. That's my goal for the next one.
So we didn't have a single laugh in Freedom, huh?
No, not at all.
And I agree. I mean, there's when it comes to Raging Bull or the contrast between Raging Bull and Rocky, there's something that everyone loves about relatability. Yeah. And Rocky was, just like you mentioned, over the top in all the wrong directions. He was dumber than we feel like we are on the inside, and he has worse luck with everything than we feel, but we all feel that way at some point in time. We watch him go, I knew it was a loser, but Rocky is worse, and it makes you feel better. If Raging Bull is relatable to you, then you're a bad person, and it shouldn't be. It's like, I remember when I was physically and mentally abusing all the loved ones in my life. You don't want that. But Rocky, it's like, I can dream again.
So wait a second. I want to hold that conversation.
I just want to clarify. That's his number one favorite film ever. So.
I bet.
So he beats him up in the ring and out of the ring. Okay.
So I want to understand. So you think all the people who love Raging Bull, and it's considered one of the greatest film out there, and they compare with Rocky, but completely different planes. But so you think anybody who likes Raging Bull would have some issues? Well, I'm not just going to go there.
If someone relates to Raging Bull, then they might want to rethink the course they're on in life.
But that's the question I want to get to. Is like, why? That's the difference, I think. I think when somebody relates to Rocky, we relate from a very, very personal space, getting behind a certain character and living that. And that's what Rocky has done. I mean, you start, you create a character that's very, very nice. You make him beaten down every next step, and you start to feel, oh, that's me, in general. And then you want to see that person win. That's Hollywood formula. I mean, so now when somebody relates to Raging Bull, and I can go now then further from cinema of kind of Raging Bull, then the cinema of breaking the Hollywood codes of conventions, all that, and then cinema of complete abstraction, and we can discuss that. So, but let me start with Raging Bull. I don't know. The director doesn't have any desire for you to get behind this character at all. He is completely aware that you're not gonna like this person. But I am showing you story of a person who you're not gonna like. You can't go behind him. You cannot root to be that person from your own personal space. But you see the destruction of it. And in that you learn something else. So I understand with Rocky, they're trying for us to learn something which the whole culture wants us to learn in our books, in our poems, in our whatever not, right? But Raging Bull wants you to learn something else without getting behind the character. I don't think Scorsese has any intention that everybody in the audience should become Jake LaMotta. But here, I think there's a complete intention that when he runs up those steps and does this, and in the next film, The Eye of the Tiger will happen, everybody should sing that. That's the complete intention, no?
Yeah.
Damon?
Yeah, that's I think, but that is, so you were talking about like, I mean, I've heard several people talk about Rocky as the thing that they would watch several times. I don't remember who just told me this, but somebody went and saw Rocky. Oh, I was talking to somebody today. They knew someone who went and watched Rocky 12 times while it was in the theaters. Like, that's how excited about it they were in that moment. And I'm assuming that person is like getting pumped up by those moments and getting excited. And no one, I imagine if there was, you know what? I've never seen a Halloween costume of of Robert De Niro as the Raging Bull.
No, I mean,
I just got a good idea for this year.
It's definitely a fun experience. I'm not. I mean, popular cinema, mainstream cinema of any kind, it's a fun experience. I finished between yesterday and today. I think between 3 days, I finished the whole Rocky series. Right. So I did a marathon myself, and I wasn't bored. I was enjoying it. I mean, there are moments that you kind of. I mean, you sob.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's tough watching.
I'm an
Rocky
emotional
V.
person. I get, I'm bad, but I get emotional. And so it was fun ride to watch 6 films in a go and to see the formula working over and over again. Same things, same tricks, same concepts, every film. And it works, and every one of them is successful. So I'm not saying it's not an enjoyable experience, but what I'm trying to get at why it becomes enjoyable experience. Because the all the ideas of God, family, nationalism, you eventually, Lady Luck is going to be good with you. You eventually, if you fight hard enough,
Hard work, yeah.
you do the hard work, you're going to be successful. And even if you're not successful, you fought. It's okay. That's the kind life you're supposed to live, and that's being sold. So that's what I'm trying to get at is
Right.
What is being sold here.
Well, for this one, I didn't remember any of the stuff that happened in the very beginning of Rocky until I saw this just now, which was like a super slow. Like he has this fight, he gets like $40 or whatever it is, like nothing basically, and then goes home, and the next 15 minutes is him like eating stuff out of his fridge and drinking a beer and icing his face and talking to himself in the mirror. It's just like there's just like this the next morning after, which he ends up talking about later. He's like that's the worst thing is the day after you've gotten beat up in a ring. Um, I feel like in like you said, the idea is to kind of give the message in this formulaic way that you're going to get beat up and you're going to go through the daily routine stuff. But in the end, as long as you don't get beaten, as long as you don't give up, you keep fighting, you're gonna make it. You're gonna be you're gonna be the thing. And I think that hope is like part of the formula, right? And it's something that even if so you didn't grow up in the American culture, right?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, but you still said you enjoyed, like, that thing still worked for you. Yeah.
But that's a mainstream culture in any part of the world. I mean, this is not just. I mean, okay. I mean, you call it American dream. India has an Indian dream.
Oh yeah.
Of course. So the features of this film in terms of hope is it's a Bollywood thing. It's mainstream thing in any part of the world. You will see. I mean, the specificities change, the superficial layer change, but behind that, the key concepts are the same. Otherwise, we won't have Modi in India, and you won't have Trump in America.
All right, wait. So ask the question again.
Was-
Ask. I got lost in that.
I don't know. I want to open it to the audience.
Okay.
Let's ask. What do you guys really like about the film, and what did you have any problem with Rocky? Let's just get to that. Like, what did anybody cringe? Did anybody has any issues with the film?
Well, I just think it's, you spend 2 hours, to be entertained, and you want to leave feeling a little better than you could after Raging Bull, where you're going, God, that sucked.
You
Is that all it is?
you used a very beautiful term, entertainment, right? And that's what I want to talk about. It's like, how do we define something as entertaining? I'm just trying to get to those nuances of it, right? I mean, what becomes entertaining to us? Like in Bollywood, this is a very common term. Every major star, every director will say, "Oh, this is entertainment, entertainment, entertainment." That's why we do it. That's why we make these kind of films, right? But what becomes entertaining is the question, and why it becomes entertaining. It's not that there's something hardwired in us, that we are born with something, the eye of the tiger will play and we'll start enjoying it, and it will be entertaining to us, right? There's something happening in our culture that make this entertaining to us. And it is a very sort of nuanced thing. Maybe I'm completely wrong in my judgment. When the scene happens where Rocky was being offered the American dream, right? I was sitting up there and I heard some laughters in the audience, right? And maybe my judgment is completely wrong. In those laughter, I sensed that was not happening on the screen out of nowhere. In the audience, there was like, oh, this is possible. That laughter was not just, there was, oh, this is possible. And that's what we as an audience starts to believe, that this is possible. This industry would not work without that. That's what I'm trying to get at, right? This industry of creating this kind of culture, what we find entertaining, you won't find Bollywood song and dance entertaining. You will find them entertaining first, then you laugh. I've seen so much audience laughing at Bollywood songs, not laughing with it, laughing at it. And they find it entertaining because they're laughing at it, right? Indian audience is finding entertaining because they're laughing with it. They're enjoying it, right? So that, what I'm trying to get to is that culture of entertainment is not a culture of entertainment for you. They will laugh at this probably, right? So I mean that's a good term. Yeah, I mean it's like escapism. Yes, we want that. I mean these films will not be successful if we, I'm asking myself, as I made Unfreedom, which is completely. I watch my film sometimes. games, and I ask myself, what the fuck is wrong with you? Right? I do. Um, um,
There aren't that many movies that when you go watch, you're still thinking about them 2 days later, going, oh my God, yours definitely was one. Rocky was just like watching a cartoon as a kid. Oh, that was fun.
See, I think that's a good point. We're comparing these two films. They're two films about boxing. That's what they have in common, and it ends there. That's like saying, oh man, do you guys like those two war films? It was Saving Private Ryan and Tropic Thunder. Man, those were really touching. You go with a state of mind. You go and like, wow, this is a bummer day. I'll watch this. Or like, ooh, I'm, in that mood. I want to see something more serious. That's the kind of thing that I would think between Rocky and Raging Bull.
And
I would never go like, oh, I'm really depressed. Raging Bull made me feel better. I want to watch that when I'm in that mood where I'm like, oh, I want something that's visceral. I want to feel something, because nothing's more evident of good writing than you walk out like, oh, I feel terrible. That must have been great writing, because it made me feel something, as opposed to my day-to-day life where I'm just all the time. So, like you said, yes, they are different, and you kind of want a specific one at a specific time.
Completely get that, and I'm going to come to both of you. I just want to make one small note on that cartoon thing. Culture works best when it has become cartoon. That's when it is its best. That's when it's functioning, completely functioning, doing its job. That's become cartoon for us, because we find entertainment there. Yeah.
So I think one thing that I was always raised to pay attention to growing up is that some things you go to for entertainment and some things you go to for enlightenment. And your life should always have a balance between those two categories, whether it's your books or your music or your friends or your movies. Some of the things that you watch or read or people you hang out with, you do because it's fun and it's relaxing and it's cathartic.
It does. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but that's what culture is. It is completely imbalanced on this side of it, and for other one to exist, it's a challenge. That's what I'm trying to say.
You're saying there's too much entertainment and not enough alignment.
Well, there is a mainstream, and alternative is always on the margins. That's how any industry would not. Yeah, please.
Well, for me, actually, I grew up watching Rocky, and me and my dad making fun of it because it was such a simple movie. And it's like, oh, he's so stupid. And I see him getting beaten up. I actually walked out pretty happy seeing Raging Bull. It's like, oh, wow, that makes me not such an asshole. There's always bigger assholes out there. Really good.
Yeah.
That Rocky is like that didn't do a thing for me at all.
So back to your statement, if you come out of there thinking that you're not as big as asshole as him, then you're okay. So you're all right.
I'm kind of okay. I'm not that bad. I mean,
What I find funny what actually both of the movies have in common is, and that's more a question.
You're on the right track with it. And I've seen a number of times. I've seen people say like, okay, we got this guy. He's got 100 fights, and he's got 2. This will be fun. And they've actually picked people for that specific reason. And that's exactly what that was. It was Apollo Creed's people saying, oh, here, this will be a really easy fight for you. It'll make a lot of money. He said, great, I'm going to keep doing my life, and then I'll just go in there and finish it up. He had no idea that he'd been training, or he wasn't as big a bum as he thought he was.
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty much the formula on all the 6 films.
Mm-hmm.
You'll go to all the 6 films. They have to create that. I mean, it's like the other opponent is not thinking at all, this guy has any chance, which is underdog has no chance, but he will stand up and be.
I hope by the 4th Rocky, people are like, I don't think he's the underdog anymore. He's like world champion for 7 years.
No. But in each film,
There's
the
always-
situation is always created that way, that you have no chance or very less chance of winning. That's how the fight has to start.
Yeah, and by
For
4
us-
you're fighting a Russian, so you have no chance.
You have no chance.
Unless you got nuclear fists like Rocky does.
Any other comments?
I've got one more thing that I noticed about the film that I would not have noticed without seeing these guys training the other day. I was sitting next to Ainsley, and she was talking about why is he running like that? And Rocky runs with this really big hip motion, right? And I was recently taught that there are these boxer exercises that I think that you guys should probably demonstrate, right? And I think that would be great.
Have you done your shadow boxing? No, this will be easy. Raj is doing 20 minutes minimum every night of shadow boxing, so this will be easy for him to knock out.
We gotta keep our movie secret for some time. I want to ask Eric. Eric, what do you think of the? So now we seen choreography on boxing. And I good at changing topics?
Yeah, you're great.
Good, okay.
But we'll come back to the stretches in a moment.
Yeah, right.
Just watch
So,
boxing movies and not do a demo.
Yeah, I mean, right, some of us have been hitting the head so much, our IQ is dropping at an alarming rate, we have an attention, so it's kind of like this here, right?
This is an actual stretch.
All in the hips, yeah. You come in, boom. It's none of this stuff. I don't know who told anyone that it's this. It's all
okay.
it's all in those hips.
See? And that's why Rocky was running with those exaggerated hip motions. It was obvious.
Right, I'm not doing that on camera.
Oh, not on camera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's too great a sex appeal. We can't risk it with you guys. I'm sorry.
All right, Eric. What do you think of comparing the choreography, the way it's done in Rocky and Raging Bull?
Well, obviously in Raging Bull, they're not really focused on it, I don't think at all. I mean, they're really just trying to get on the background of the story. The fights are kind of like fall second to the whole narrative, the whole
Yeah.
thing in Raging Bull. So you can't really critique it much because I don't think they worked on it that much. You know, I could tell, when we did watch it, obviously the feet weren't moving with any of the punches. This one, Apollo Creed kind of takes the role of Muhammad Ali in kind of a literal sense. He's the embodiment of him. He's the character kind of based off of Muhammad. I hated it.
But now you like it.
I like it now. Yeah, I actually like that.
Culture works. Culture works.
Doesn't work on kids.
No, it doesn't work on kids. No, it doesn't. I mean, as a kid, you're not there yet. I mean, now you're there.
Why did Rocky keep getting hit in the face over and over again? Why the frick did
He didn't put his hands up at all. Not one. He was like this.
The nose every second of that entire fight.
Right. I mean, so that's what.
The same punch.
Yeah. So, and Jacob can answer that better. But I think it's again, at the end of the day, the goal, I guess, for the directors here is a boxer should look like a boxer. Punches should like punches, right? But what we're trying to get to is what's the story? What is we trying to? And this you will see more and more with Rocky further. You punch him, you want to show that he gets punched, and he'll get back on his feet and all that. I mean, if he's a real boxer, Jacob, right? He will be right here, right? He wouldn't be taking those.
No, I've seen plenty in shitty boxers. They're everywhere. They come out
But
of the
he's not
woodwork.
supposed to be shitty. He's fighting
He is shitty. If we remember
Yeah.
in the beginning,
Okay.
he's 30 years old. He's had 64 fights, and I don't think he's won quite that many of them.
Right.
He's also, he goes in the gym. They're like, oh, you're shit. You're garbage. You're doing this. You
Right.
suck at this. You got a great heart, though. What is that? He just works out for a long time? I don't know exactly what great heart means. You're just able
means
to get hit a lot.
Take a punch
Right.
and not
Oh,
fall
yeah.
down? Question mark.
Good. You won't be able to pick up a spoon in 7 years. It's really not that impressive to have a lot of heart, but he is terrible, and that's kind of his thing. And that's probably the most unbelievable part, is that you think that you can even get close to prepare to fight a world champion in 5 weeks. I don't recommend people try it.
Yeah.
But he does what he can, and one cool element is that he doesn't change that much. He's just got more confidence, more cardio, and he's ready to die in that ring. But he goes in there still the same clunky statue on roller skates, swinging at the fences, hoping that he can hit him. And when he does hit him, he hurts him. But there's only like 9 times that he hits him.
Right, right. But we I mean, you comparing, you even see Creed, right? I mean, he's supposed to be much better trained and all that.
Yeah.
But you will still see, if you go and see the choreography of it, you will still see guy. I mean, when the punches are happening, he's not taking like that. He's just there. He just,
Well, it also looks good when you get hit in the face.
huh?
Yeah.
It looks good when you get hit in the face.
Okay.
Oh, I never got to the scene split.
Yeah. If you watch it,
And-
if you
and
watch
we-
a fight
we-
on TV and stuff, it almost sometimes you're bored because you're not really seeing anybody get hit because they're actually blocking.
No, exactly. I mean, we saw the fight last night,
Yeah.
the Mayweather fight, right?
Yeah.
How interesting that was. I mean, I was pretty bored.
I loved
I mean,
it.
of course, you guys will love it because you're seeing the nuances of the strategy. You're seeing the nuances of how these guys are working, but there is nothing very flamboyant about
Until that round where he starts getting punched in the face, then the whole crowd was like, yes.
But here is the thing. you saw like 6, 7, 8 punches happening and everything is done and over with. Really. And here is 13 rounds of punches and punches and
15
punches.
rounds,
I mean,
yeah.
that's inhuman, which is great.
So I'll chime in a little bit on that. They didn't stop fights back in the day. I mean, even in the 80s, I mean, they didn't stop them like they do now.
Yeah.
But there's so many more studies on concussions and injuries. Like, we pretty much we know that you're going to be messed up.
Yeah.
And athletic commissions to avoid lawsuits would be done on you.
Yeah.
You're the guy who gets sued.
Yeah.
Yeah.
During that fight, I heard the announcer say afterwards, they made it very clear. They were like, he did not contest stopping. Like when the ref came over, he wasn't like, no. He was like, okay. So
Yeah.
he was there.
Well, because he had nothing to prove to his girlfriend, no?
Huh?
If they let that go on, he was tired and he was going to pick them apart. It would have been a bloodbath the next 2 rounds. I
Yeah.
guarantee it.
Yeah.
When Mayweather turns on, he turns on. People don't like him because of his defensive style, but I mean, you can look up the fights where he just.
All right.
Toughest fight is marriage.
Any more questions and comments before Don? You have nothing to say? How is that possible?
Great job, guys.
Okay.